Hello everyone, so today we shall be discussing about Unit 3 EVS Paper 1. So here the very first topic we have is assessment, types of assessment, purpose of assessment, tools and techniques for assessing EVS. So we all know what do we mean by assessment, right? The analysis. So here there are different types of assessment we will be discussing here, and what are the purposes of assessment and what are the tools and techniques we use in order to assess the EVS. So that also we will be learning here. So let us first of all let us see techniques for assessing EVS. What is that? Techniques for what are the different techniques we use in order to assess EVS. So let us see. Assessment in the context of education refers to the process of evaluating and measuring a student's knowledge, skills, abilities and understanding of a particular subject or topic. So what it says is that the assessment process is used in order to understand the process of evaluating and measuring a student's knowledge. What do? We try to measure or understand the knowledge of the students, the different type of skills they have obtained, the abilities they possess, and the understanding they have regarding a particular subject or area or the topic. All right, so in case of environmental studies or EVS, assessment is used to gauge a student's comprehension of various environmental concepts and their abilities to apply that knowledge to real world situations. See, whenever we are teaching a particular concept inside a classroom, it does not mean that it has to stay only inside the four walls, but the student should be able to connect it with the real life situations, with the real environment. So whatever we are teaching inside the classroom, the students should be able to use that in her or his day-to-day life or practical life. All right, so there are different types of assessment, each serving a specific purpose. So we have actually different type of assessment processes, and each of that assessment type have its own specific purpose and various tools and techniques that educators use to assess students' understanding of EVS. Let us explore each aspect in detail. So it says that different educator may use different type of assessment techniques in order to understand the learner in a better and in a more specific way. So types of assessment. So let us see what are the different types of assessment. So first of all, we have here two types of assessments are given, that is formative assessment and summative assessment. And my dear friends, these two types of assessment are very important from Mtet point of view as well. So it is, and also from Ctet point of view or from KVS point of view. So whenever you are going to appear different type of examinations, be it Ctet, Mtet or any other teachers eligibility examinations, these two types of assessment are always asked. All right, that is formative assessment and summative assessment are always asked. So let us see what do we understand by formative assessment. So formative assessment are carried out during the learning process and provide ongoing feedback to both the students and the teachers. So first of all, let me tell you that formative assessment is carried out during the course of study. That means while the study is going on, it is not like it is the test and all which we take in everyday class, that is be it a class test, be as a weekly test, or the asking of questions or giving projects or assignments or homework. All this comes under formative assessment. Why? Because this formative assessment takes place during the course of study, which means in our regular classes the different type of test and all and the project and the assignments we are giving, all this comes under formative assessment. Now these assessments are not graded and are designed to help identify students' strengths and weaknesses. And what happens, these assessments are actually not only made for the students, it is also meant for the teachers. It provides feedback to both the teachers as well as the students. All right, their weakness and strengths are identified using these formative assessment. So these assessments are not graded. All right, identify students' strengths and weaknesses, allowing educators to make adjustment to their teaching method and strategies. So this formative assessment in a great way help the teachers or the educators so that they can develop different type of teaching tactics and techniques, and they can make use of different type of teaching aids so that they can make their teaching more engaging and a more effective one. So examples of formative assessment in EVS may include quizzes, short written reflections, class discussions and concept maps. So these are simple few examples are given for the formative type of assessment in EVS, which may include quizzes, asking questions in the classroom or organizing quiz competitions, organizing extempore speech, debate competitions, like then writing reflections. What are the different types of discussions they might have? The student discussion or the student teacher discussions, and the concept map. So these are few examples of formative assessment which can be carried out in environmental studies. All right, now we have summative assessment. Summative assessment occurs at the end of a learning period and are used to evaluate students' overall understanding and performance in EVS. These assessments are typically graded and used to assign final marks or grades. Example. All right, so formative assessment and summative assessment are two different type of assessment. Here in summative assessment, what happens, these are the assessment which are done at the end of the session. For example, you may take the example of half yearly examination or annual examination. So these can be termed as summative assessment. All right, why? Because this is done at the end of the session or a certain period of time. Now these assessments are typically graded. These summative assessments are used in order to grade the students, to rank the students. Then example of summative assessments in EVS may include standardized test, end of unit exams, research projects, and presentations. So these are few examples of summative assessment. That is, standardized test may be conducted, annual examinations may be conducted, half yearly examinations may be conducted, or unit test may be conducted, and research projects and presentation also are example of summative assessment. Now let us see what are the different purpose of assessment. Why do we take assessment? So monitoring, number one is monitoring learning progress. So assessment help educators track students' progress in the understanding of environmental concepts. By regularly assessing students, teachers can identify areas of improvement and tailor their instructions to meet individual needs. So here what happens is that when we are practicing this assessment, it helps the educator, not only the students, but basically it helps the teacher in order to identify his strengths and weaknesses and the progress the students have made, and the concepts they have understood or not, the understanding they have built about certain topics. All this can be analyzed using this is the purpose of assessment. All right, by regularly assessing students, teacher can identify areas of improvement. So regularly, if we are assessing the students, we can find out the weakness and strength of the students, and accordingly we can give them instructions in order to improve them. Now, providing feedback. So assessment allows for a timely feedback, which is crucial for students to understand their strengths and areas that require improvement. Constructive feedback helps students enhance their learning and performance. So it says that assessment also provides feedback to the teacher as well as to the students, so the teachers can improve based on the feedback. The teacher can improve his teaching skills, improve his teaching learning materials, or find out different ways in order to make his or her teaching to be more effective. And constructive feedback giving a positive feedback to the students can also enhance their learning and performance. Now, informing instructional decisions. So assessment results guide teachers in modifying their teaching strategies and content to better address the specific learning needs of their students. So this is also one type of feedback which the teachers get in, and accordingly they can modify their way of teaching and content to better address the needs of the children. Now, certifying achievement. Summative assessment provides a certification of achievement or level of competence in EVS which can be valuable for students' academic progress and future opportunities. So what happens, summative assessment, it gives a certification of achievement to the learners, right, which are valuable for students in academic progress and which can be used for future references. Now, tools and techniques for assessing EVS. Now, how are we going to assess the students? So there are certain tools and techniques we use in order to assess the learner, right? So written assessment. So what is this written assessment? So these may include quizzes, tests, and exams which questions covering various aspects of environmental studies such as ecological concepts, conservation strategies, and sustainability practices. So written assessment, by the word itself you understand that these type of assessment are something which has to be done in writing, right? So tests, then quiz, then exams are taken. So all these different type of assessments are used, especially this written assessment, right? So tools and techniques for assessing EVS. So now let's see the next one, that is projects and presentation. So assigning research projects, group presentation, or case studies in environmental issues allows students to demonstrate their understanding and critical thinking skills. So this is also a technique which we can use in order to we can assign the students to make group presentations or do a case study of certain topic or make a project or do a hands-on training or do do a practical work in which we can develop the critical thinking skills in the learner. Now, observation. Teachers can assess students' knowledge and skills by observing their participation in class discussions, group activities, and field trips related to environmental studies. See, we all know that the students are examined or the students are observed throughout his or her stay in the school or in the campus or even outside the campus whenever they are associated directly with the teachers, right? So be it in the field trip, be it in the classroom, be it in the corridor, wherever we see, we observe the students or we observe the learner, and according to their response, their behavior and their participation, we can provide effective ways in which they can improve their learning skills, right? Now, hands-on activities. See, we all know that hands-on activities means practical exercises like environmental experiments, field work, or hands-on simulations can assist students' ability to apply their knowledge to real-world scenario. So hands-on activity is the best way in which we can develop our learners, right? Why? Because hands-on activities, if you're trying to teach a certain topic, if you involve the learner there, then the learner can remember the concept better, he understands the concept better. Why? Because the learner itself is involved in the process of teaching and learning, right? So this is one of the best way we as teachers should practice whenever we are dealing with our learners, right? Now, concept map and mind maps. These visual representations allow students to organize and connect environmental concepts, demonstrating their understanding of relationship between different topics. So there are two types of maps. So concept map or mind maps. So what are these? These are visual representation, all right, which allow the students to organize and connect directly with the environmental concepts, demonstrating their understanding of relationship between the environment and the people around it, or the relation which the community or the society has. All right. The portfolios can showcase a students' progress and growth in EVS over time, including samples of their work, reflections, and self-assessment. So portfolio is a very effective way if we want to really understand our students' perspective, if we really want to understand our students' background, our students' progress, a students shortcomings. So we as teachers should always encourage making a student portfolio, right? Why? Because it consists of the sample of the work of the students, the reflection of the students, and self-assessment of the students. Now, self-assessment and peer assessment, what are these two? So I think this is the last topic. So self-assessment and peer assessment. So encouraging students to self-assess their understanding of EVS and engage in peer evaluation fosters metacognition and collaborative learning. See, self-assessment means the assessment which we do on ourselves, right? Suppose a student has written a class test, we will ask the students to assess himself, to check his paper himself, out of 10 how much he wants to give according to his performance, and he have to be very honest and humble while he is checking his own paper, or who he is carrying out the process of self-assessment. And there is also another process called peer assessment. So in peer assessment, what happens is that one student will assess the other student, or one student will check the test paper of another student. All right. By employing a variety of assessment types, educators can gain a comprehensive understanding of each student's strengths and weaknesses in environmental studies, fostering a more effective learning processes and facilitating students' growth and development in its important subject. All right. So what happens by employing variety of assessment type? What happens? The educators can understand the learners better and give the understanding of each students, give the give the feedback to the students according to the need in which they are lagging behind. Right. So this helps the teacher to understand the strengths and weaknesses of the learners. So therefore, what do? We carry out different type of assessment, all right? And this self-assessment and peer assessment is a very effective one, because when the student themselves, they are assessing each other, they are being honest, and they are responsible, right? They become responsible. They understand how the teacher might be checking, or what the teacher might be expecting from their answer sheet or from their responses. So this is one of the very best way in which we as teachers can help the learners develop their critical thinking and to improve their studies and to improve their understanding of the environment, right? So these were certain subtopics under the heading assessment types of assessment, types of assessment, purpose of assessment, tools and techniques for assessing environmental studies. All right, so I think this is the end of unit 3, and next in the next video we shall be continuing with unit 4. So thank you everyone for listening and being patient. So my apologies for the background noise. Actually, I think the neighborhood children, they are playing around, so because of that certain noise can be heard in the background, so kindly ignore the background noise, right? And rest all good, all fine. So see you in the next video. Thank you everyone for being here.